Hello everybody and welcome back to another video by Funlearn Tutorials. In today's video we will be carrying on with the Jones 1971 model, and as I have explained the difference in the structure of the Jones 1965 model with the Jones 1971 model, I suggest you have a look at the video which I will be linking somewhere up here in the top right corner of the screen. And let's get on with the equational structure of the said model, which is the Jones 1971 model. We'll be going with the same approach as I did in the Jones 1965 model. So again, I'll be linking both the introduction of the Jones 1971 model and the equational structures, which are the two videos for Jones 1965 model. Essentially, it will be better if you watch the entire Jones 1965 model because the concepts and the approach is the same. I'll be linking all those videos down in the description box below because there is no such timestamp which will help you. So just have a look at those videos and then we can come back and carrying on with what I was saying. I am assuming that you know all those videos. So let me just get on with the equational structure. So again, let's start with the production side. So the basic production side remains the same. Why? Because even in the Jones 1965 model, there were two sectors of production. Even here, there are two sectors, which are the agricultural sector, which, as you can recall, is the exportable sector, and the manufacturing sector, which again you can recall is the import competing sector. I have explained why they are called the exportable sector and the import competing sector respectively. So since the number of sectors remain the same, the equations for the production side essentially remain the same. So we again have PA equal to ALAW plus AKAR. So let me just if I can, let me just copy them from here. So I'll be copying this, and okay, I can't copy them. Cool. So let me just write them down here again. PA equal to ALA into W. So we have the cost, essentially the price of 1 unit of agricultural output that has to be equated to the labor cost, which is ALA into W. That is the labor cost. And there is also a part of capital cost, which is AKA. So that gives me the capital coefficient, and R. So that is the first equation. As I had explained, the concept remains the same. However, there is one change. As you can recall, the production sector we had assumed in 1965 model used labor and capital. So we had labor from this side. So let me just highlight. We had labor from this side and we had capital from, did I mention? Okay, no, I hadn't. So essentially the arrow for this line, if I can I change the color of this line? Yes, I can. Cool. These two lines, this line would stand for ALA XA. Right, sorry, AKA XA. This would stand for AKA XA. AKA XA, and this would stand for ALA XA. Let me just change the color of this as well. Right, perfect. So the ALA XA would go here and AKA XA would go here. That is because capital was also moving into the agricultural sector. So this term came from the capital sector. However, here this part remains the same. So we still have ALA XA moving in from the agricultural sector. But since the capital is not going here anywhere, we cannot have that AKA sector. Instead, there is a T component here which goes into the agricultural sector. So you can try it out conceptually as well, or you can use the symmetry and you can realize that we'll have an ATA. So there's land, which is essentially T. T moves into the agricultural sector, and there's XA being used. So we have ATA XA. Okay, I made a mistake. Yeah, right. No, I didn't make a mistake. Cool. ATA XA and ALA XA moves here. And we assume that the cost of labor is W. So we have W as the per labor unit cost. We continue to assume that R is the per unit capital cost, which is essentially the sector specific capital for manufacturing sector. And let me assume that capital R is the return for land, which is the sector specific land for agricultural sector. So here, instead of Ka into R, which was initially in the 1965 model, came from this component, since this is not moving into the agricultural sector anymore, we will have to replace the capital components in the agricultural sector with labor components, which means this element, if I go back into the 1965 model and I remove these highlighters, then this component aka R in the agricultural sector has to be replaced with T components, because we are replacing capital, sector specific capital, initially it was mobile, with sector specific land. So here instead of aka R, this time it will be different. If you can guess correctly, then it will be actually ATA into capital R. Here again we assume that TA refers to the amount of land that is being used to produce 1 unit of agricultural output, to maintain consistency with the definition that I had used initially as the input coefficients Aij. So we have ATAR incorporated into this equation. That gives me the agricultural sector. So I am over with the agricultural sector. As you can realize, that is being targeted in this block. Now we move on to the manufacturing sector. Again, the labor part remains the same. So we again have ALMXM. So we have ALMXM. This part is again common with the 1965 model, as you can guess from equation 2, which So this part again remains the same, ALMW. This part again remains the same, and the part that we will have to change is the sector specific part, which is the capital part. So since labor is mobile, the labor components remain the same. It is the capital part that gets disturbed, because there is a sector specificity introduced in the capital components. So if I consider the manufacturing sector, I end up with PM equal to ALMW, as was previously in the 1965 model, plus now we realize that in the manufacturing sector we have the sector specific advanced capital, which uses small r as its return. So we have, instead of AK, essentially the notation remains the same, but the meaning changes. Here again it's AKMR, but this time this K is not mobile. So you can see that it looks the same as the equation 2 in the 1965 model. Let me just show you that once as I circle this equation 2. So you have PM equal to ALMW plus AKMR, and you had the equation PM equal to ALMW plus AKMR. It looks the same, but here this K and this K was same because of the capital mobility, whereas here, because of the sector specificity of capital, we have two capitals, which is T and K, and we have two returns, which are capital R and small r. That concludes the production side of the model. Now we can move on to the side of the model, side which gives you the balance of the factor of factor of inputs, essentially, which are T, L, K, and that will be discussed in the next video.